with the rebound. She's fouled, and Clark gives a round of applause to all the fans in this building.
It would be premature for me to discuss any player or anything else since USA Basketball has not made an official announcement. I have some juicy details regarding the WNBA's most recent drama that I wanted to share with you all. Alright, now take a look at this. After Caitlin Clark's incredible performance as the Indiana Fever defeated the Minnesota Lynx, the head coach of the USA Basketball, Cheryl Reeve, simply would not answer any questions regarding Clark. Many are perplexed as to why Reeve avoided answering questions regarding a promising young player in the league. This game continued Clark's trend of impressive play this season. She seemed determined right from the start. The atmosphere in the stadium changed whenever she made contact with the ball. By the end of the third quarter, it seemed as though Clark had popped an espresso and was fully functional again. Homegirl was doing her job as a top-tier player, making smart passes, hitting clutch shots, and so on. Her record-setting performance in terms of points, assists, and rebounds further solidified her status as one of the WNBA's most exciting young players. I bet that also makes a huge impression on Reed, doesn't it? Clark must be thinking, hey yo, I'm the one you passed up for Team USA, so I'm going to do you dirty in front of everybody. Controversial WNBA politics are not uncommon. Conversely, the Minnesota Lynx didn't exactly shine that evening. Their normally solid defense appeared to be faltering at times. Their defense was terrible, and they couldn't even hold Clark.
You're the best defensive team in the league. You play sound defense in a one-possession ball game.
Clark, as we go inside a minute. The Fever with the ball. Clark passed up the long three. Into Boston, give the assist to Clark.
As a team, the Lynx were off to a slow start and had trouble converting shots. You could feel the tension rising as the game drew to a close in the fourth quarter. They carried a 7-point lead into the fourth quarter, but the momentum shifted when the Indiana Fever made 2 quick threes. The Lynx's offensive woes were exacerbated by their incapacity to respond effectively. It was a game where they just couldn't get anything to work. Perhaps they experienced hypoglycemia. The crowd was very supportive of Caitlin Clark, even though her team was on the road. The crowd's roar grew in volume with each of her plays. For her, it felt at times like a home game. A player's performance can be greatly enhanced with this type of support, and Clark appeared to be no exception. Spectators were on the edge of their seats the entire time, but particularly during the game's most intense moments. Even though they were rooting for the Lynx at the start, the home crowd eventually came to respect Clark's skills.
Xander Lucini, good length on the perimeter on Caitlin. That is a tough pass.
Wow.
And somehow Caitlin hit it.
It seemed like she had won over even the most ardent Minnesota fans by the time the game came to a close. In sharp contrast to her cocky remarks before the game, Clark's tone was noticeably more reserved when she initially addressed the media. She was so smoked that she had trouble finding the right words, or any words really, after the crushing defeat. Do you ever notice how someone is clearly struggling to conceal their disappointment? In the seconds following the final buzzer, that was Reed. It appeared as though Reed was almost hesitant to engage in conversations with members of the media. Responses to the questions regarding Clark were brief and almost evasive. It seemed as though she was making an effort to not pay any more attention to Clark. Reed was more concerned with the flaws in her own squad than she was with praising Clark for her outstanding performance. She sidestepped questions about Clark in favor of discussing the offense's struggles and defense's lapses. Bringing up Clark's name seemed to rekindle the pain of the loss. Their offense put a lot of emotional pressure on them, according to Reed, who thought defensively they played adequately to win. It was clear that the loss had a personal and team impact on Reed, as she seemed visibly anxious. Wow, that really brought your ego down to earth. You know, it's never fun to talk a good game and then have to take a hit when your plans fall through. The telltale signs were her slumped shoulders, her voice becoming noticeably quieter, and an air of hesitancy that had previously been absent, as if someone had just kicked her puppy across the room. She appeared to be questioning her choices, especially the ones she made before the game that could have energized Clark even more. Everyone knows that when things get heated, emotions run high. This game was a perfect storm of disappointment and frustration for Reed. Her words and deeds have great weight as Team USA's head coach. One might wonder how Reed feels about up-and-coming talent when she was hesitant to give Caitlin Clark credit for her performance. Regardless of his own biases, it is Reed's responsibility to find and develop top players for Team USA. Some may question whether Reed can effectively manage her duties with the Lynx and the national team in light of this incident. Even if it means losing a game, it is essential for a coach at that level to identify and and encourage their team's rising stars. Together, Clark's play and Reed's response highlight how quickly she's becoming a major player in the WNBA. The win in this game was the cherry on top of Clark's impressive streak. Her charisma and dominance on the court are indications of her future in the sport. Clark is causing quite a stir, as Reed found it difficult to even mention her name. That she has already made such a mark at this stage of her career is mind-boggling. Listen, it's not merely about her point total, it's about how she alters the game's trajectory and makes her opponents adjust.
What's up, Ari? Welcome to the studio, girl.
Caitlin off glass, fasciitis, but her team is beating Indiana, and that's exactly what the Fever needed to start.
True superstars are characterized by this kind of impact, and she has that audience licking her fingers. People like Caitlin Clark are invaluable to the league's dynamics. They are a major factor in increasing attendance, viewership, and buzz. In Clark's mind, every time she takes the court, it's not merely a game, it's a performance for the ages. This encounter with the Lynx serves as an exemplar. The crowd goes wild whenever she gets a touch on the ball, and it's clear that her fame is only going to grow. Having Clark and other stars is a huge component of the WNBA's strategy to raise its profile. Some of her admirers may be hearing about the WNBA for the first time.
Show. Clark. Buckled Carlton's knees.
And their interest in her performances is attracting them. Many of her teammates have spoken highly of Clark's performance. Having someone on the team with her level of skill and determination is an inspiration, according to her fellow Indiana Fever players. Clark is so formidable that even the other team's players worry about how they will handle her on the court. The coaches have also voiced their belief that Reed's unwillingness to talk about Clark could be due to his competitive nature and sense of frustration. This serves as a sobering reminder that when competing, emotions can run high and make rational decision-making difficult. Fans, unsurprisingly, have blown up social media over this. Everyone is talking about Clark's performance. Videos of her crucial plays are going viral on X and Instagram, and her devoted followers are gushing over her. Many are scolding Reed for failing to give Clark the recognition she deserves. Some have even gone so far as to say that Reed's remarks constituted an example of unsportsmanlike conduct. Fans of Clark's are quick to defend her and revel in her achievements, proving that she has amassed a sizable fan base. Not only that, but the rest of the sports world has taken note, with numerous commentators pointing out how the fans' excitement highlights Clark's increasing impact in the league. The ramifications of this incident for the WNBA and women's basketball in general have been extensively discussed by sports analysts. According to some analysts, the league may have a problem with the way it discovers and develops young talent because of Reed's remarks or lack thereof. Everyone seems to agree that the WNBA needs to make the most of its up-and-coming players if it wants to attract more fans and get more attention. Some analysts have speculated that Clark's marketability and future significance to the league may be attributed to the strong reaction she has elicited from fans and critics alike. Everybody is looking at this as a watershed moment for the WNBA, a chance to shape how the league promotes players and interacts with fans. Seriously, you have the chance to involve a whole new generation in the game. Why pass up that chance?